Yeah, I'm Jackson. I have zero experience with carpentry.
I studied at a school for historic preservation in Boston and learned about how things were built, 250 years ago.
There's a long way to go. I'm nowhere near the top. Not that I thought I was, but there's so much more to do out there.
Welcome back to the Passion for Craft podcast. Today we're doing something a little bit different, a little bit fun. We're going to react to some celebrity houses. And there's so we've got a bunch of videos. Austin's pulled a couple of them. Our producer Austin, and he's got like $100 million house tour, as well as Tom Cruise's house tour. And then I requested that y'all see the most famous house tour guy I know, producer Michael, who's really just this goober who does these big mega mansion house tours.
Does he have a big voice?
Do
you remember the Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous? The guy,
Yeah.
and it's $1 million.
I mean, this guy might be the same guy.
Okay.
Because he's getting up there and he's not willing to
So
admit
in general, I don't know if we're going to have many comments about the Rich and Famous, because I suspect just because of the teams they put together, they try to guarantee themselves something tasteful.
So you're saying,
am I going to be surprised?
I don't know.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know. This truly is a blind reaction. Richard, have you been watching house tour videos?
No,
recently? Okay.
not at all.
So we have not seen any of these videos. So
Like, I'm working on a job right now that I had to sign a non-disclosure agreement on.
So who is it?
I don't know. I really don't.
Right after
I
he
really
says
don't
it.
know who it is.
You
That's
yourself don't know.
I myself, I signed a non-disclosure. I still don't know who it is. But there's 40 consultants on the job. 40 consultants.
Wow.
Okay.
To make sure that the house is.
Yeah. And so that's why I'm like, these guys pay to make sure that they don't look bad. And so we'll see what happens.
You're doing a celebrity's home.
Yes.
We're assuming it's a celebrity because they've made you
Yes.
sign an
That's
NDA.
the rumor.
So because you're in a room with 40 different consultants, are these consultants dumb or are they like pretty good?
No, everybody's talented.
Okay. So that does speak to a lot, I guess. I didn't think about that.
So, but that's my expectation going into this. Like,
That's gonna be
we're not
awesome.
going to see like Tom Cruise's house sucks,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because he pays to make sure it doesn't suck.
Right.
That's my guess.
And he's got to be camera ready at all times. So his house does too.
You would think.
Hopefully. All right. So this is producer Michael. And so I really don't know where this video is going to go. He's got 36-minute long videos.
It's like he's conducting the opera or conducting the symphony there.
So I've seen a lot of these guys.
More oboe.
So this guy does a lot of these videos. He was really big during COVID. But a lot of people just watched his videos and reacted to him to make fun of him a little bit. And just because he's such a character. And I'm not saying we're here to bash Michael, but most of the time what he's pointing out in these houses are like, this is the shoe room. This is the, whatever. And so this one is a $48 million mega mansion filled with Cause bear bricks. Cause is like an artist who does like this Mickey Mouse dystopian type deal. Anyway, so just fair warning, this guy, I'm not expecting magic out of this guy. I just want y'all to see this goofball because
Just good entertainment.
it's just fun. This is just fun.
Beverly Hills, California, and we're going to show
Is he
you
wearing a rug?
spectacular, massive,
Probably.
I think he's got a rug on.
That's a fake hairpiece.
And very interesting. Adam, look at the size of this. It's stupid sick.
All right, just pause it right there. Looking at the outside, I mean, what do we think? I mean, it's a mega mansion, so it's ginormous.
Kind of that mountain lodge kind of thing, looking thing.
All windows.
A lot of steel and windows and wood.
What's with the
barn,
vertical
that's barn
windows?
siding.
It's a barn dough.
It's a barn dough. It's a mega barn dough. Yeah.
So what do we think of these upwards slats? Is that a normal thing? I've never seen that in a home before.
Upward side. Are you talking the boards that are vertical?
Yeah.
Yes, that's a vertical sided house.
All right,
Yes,
well,
very common.
Very common.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's a
good.
barn, but it's a barn. It's the board and batten look. That's a vertical board and batten. That is there's not a batten. It should, but it's just they've got that rustic barn wood, and so I suspect it's a barn dominium.
All right, we can just play it because I'm not really expecting architectural gold out of this. I was just curious about, honestly, this. It's kind of funky. It's very modern.
Yeah. I mean, you don't Yeah.
You don't like cause and not like modern.
Just about 2 acres of land in Beverly Hills, where you can imagine what that's worth.
Massive.
Beautiful pool here. And we'll come back out here a little later because down the driveway, there's something very special. We've got to show you that too.
See, he's like all about
One
the
more thing.
toys.
This is the largest door by far that we've ever shown.
Look
on
at
the
his
channel.
shoes.
Ready?
Oh my gosh.
Can you believe it?
What's that? 20.
25
I feel like that
feet.
just looks bad, right?
Unreal. Come on in.
I mean, it looks like a cartoon, right?
I can stop it. Go in.
Thank you. Whoa.
Whoa, he's
All right. Yeah. I mean, there's nothing architecturally significant about this
It is
house. It is
gorgeous.
just
The
a
whole
giant
house is
room.
filled with them. And to put it in perspective,
Here's an example of the art and, you know, the door
Yeah.
being bigger than the architecture.
Yeah.
And so we end up putting into our houses these, I remember a builder one time put a Lamborghini in the living room.
Yeah.
Right? Why? Because he had no imagination and no architectural ability, nothing. He wanted something stunning, right? So he puts a Lamborghini in the living room, right? Why do you do that? You do that if you don't understand how to put moldings together. You do that if you don't understand how to create amazing spaces architecturally. You overcome that with junk stuff. The cause thing, the huge door. It is just a big room, right? But it's more about the furniture. It's more about the art, and it's not, you know.
And I mean, like right there, 7 bedrooms, 11 bathrooms, parking for 30 cars. Like, it was crazy. Yeah. So anyway, we don't have to continue watching this guy. He's just kind of a goober, and loves that. We could probably skip around in the middle of the video, but there's probably nothing too significant in
I'd like
here.
to see him without his rug on.
There was a video that he's in where it was really windy, and it was just blowing around, but it never came off.
Oh, well, maybe it's not.
Well, there's some
Could just be a massive comb
there's some
over.
pretty intense hair systems that. That's what they're called. They're called hair systems.
They are
a technical
I
term.
did not know that.
A buddy of mine got one recently.
Really?
Yeah.
Like someone your age?
Yeah.
Really?
30, but yeah.
And he got a rug or implants or
Toupee. No, he didn't do implants. So you get implants, they just everything that is there would grow, does grow, and then the implants grow on top of that. So you end up having like a more patchy look. So he went with the hair system where they shave the whole top and then glue it on.
glue it on.
Hell yeah.
Maybe they use PL because I
Wait.
can't get this stuff off me.
Wait, there is they
It's glued, yeah. And then you can like
shower and do everything. It doesn't come off.
and it doesn't
like-
budge. It's crazy.
That's like glue really close to your brain. Yeah. I don't know how good
Well,
that
it's
is.
I wonder
technically
if it
epoxy.
off gases.
It's technically epoxy. It's a 2-part epoxy.
All right, so we can drop out of that producer Michael video. I just thought that guy, if you haven't watched his videos and just gotten a huge kick out of it, he's so funny. But okay, so our first real video is this Architectural Digest video. Austin has pulled this for us, and just reading the title, it says, "Inside a modern $100 million equestrian estate and farm on the market."
Modern meaning recently built, because that's not modern style, right?
Correct.
Just
It's
40
not.
miles north of New York City, but a world away from it all. I'm Hope Mazzola, the listing agent for Stonewall Farm.
Just after seeing Hope and that other girl, I think actually all
Okay.
house tours are weird.
Here's what you're paying for.
What?
Here's what you're paying for in that house. The equestrian farm. Because you're not paying for that house. I mean, those columns are tubes, right? I mean, it's built. That's built by a
they're
McMansion
straight.
builder.
They're straight tubes.
Yeah, I know. There's nothing architecturally special about that house.
Well, let's close the shutters and get out of here.
Look at the 2 shutters on the 3-bay window.
Yeah.
Right. And just, you know, the way they got that balcony in there, the straight tubes. It's just unfortunate. The column sits up underneath of the entablature. It doesn't stick out. So it's just little things like that. Look at the size of that glass in the dormer versus the face of the dormer. That should be, 80 to 90% of the face of the dormer. It's like 40%, 50%. So the window size, the dormers look proportionally to the house are not bad, but proportionally to the dormer they're bad.
Because it should be 70%
Yeah. So
glass.
there's what I'm doing here is I'm looking at, there are a few architectural clues that tip the hand of the, skill level of the architect and designer. I bet this house was built by a builder and there wasn't even an architect involved.
Yeah.
Could have been a house plan designer, but for to be $100 million house and to have that crappy of a build is unfortunate.
Well, there's not even a door to get out to the balconies.
Yeah.
On either floor.
It's all visual, right? It's all meant to be implied.
Yeah.
What
Also,
about
the single shutter in the middle of the middle balcony, as weird as it is to say a middle balcony.
yeah.
There are 3 shutters on the 2 windows in the.
Which one does it go to?
Yeah, which one does it go to?
So then you know that all they're doing is applying decoration. They've applied traditional decoration to the house.
Mm-hmm.
So for you, when you said, that 3 window right there, that 3 gang or whatever, you just, to solve that shutter issue, you just wouldn't put 3 windows together.
Or you just wouldn't put the shutters on it.
You wouldn't put the shutters on that piece. I mean, you've grouped the windows maybe to emphasize that kind of the center base section. You don't. The shutters aren't required. Mm-hmm. One, they're not. They're not going to be. They're not for use anyway.
Mm-hmm. And if they were, they'd probably accordion on themselves, right?
If you look closely, I don't think they even fit for that size of window.
They don't.
So anyway, they're decoration. And that whole house is decoration. It's an implied architecture. It's implied, traditionalism, and it's not done very well.
140 spectacular acres, and the epitome.
You're
of
right. You are
luxury
paying for the
both the
acres.
sports lover and the house lover.
Oh yeah, here we go.
Now, and then the other critique I'd have is that sitting in this room, do you have any idea that what's going on the outside? Like, what is that style? It's not the traditional that you've got on the inside, the outside, and so the inside and outside aren't speaking together very well. It's kind of a modern hand railing going around the top of that.
It almost looks farmhouse modern just because of the piping on the handrail.
Which is fine. I mean, it's not terrible, but it's just if I'm going to sit here and in this episode, I just get to be a critique kind of the asshole, that looks at stuff and just complains, right? Mm-hmm. For $100 million house.
Yeah.
I'm going to do that. I'm going to embrace that. I'm going to embrace that role.
I think your name is
standing in
Brent
front of-
Hull, not Apple.
Beautiful 24,000 square foot main residence.
I like the
8
landscape, I
bedrooms
will
and
say.
10
The
bathrooms.
landscape
Yeah,
is
the
nice.
setting's
There's
amazing.
Also a 4,000 square foot pavilion.
That's what I'm
style
talking about.
poolhouse. And it's all
That
on
is
the
nice.
market for $100 million. And we're lucky enough to have.
Stop. See the columns sitting up underneath the beam like that? Wrong. They're wrong. Don't do that. See that they're straight tubes. There's no entasis in those columns.
It actually looks like the shutters
wrong.
might close. Not fit, but they might close. Like, see the hinge?
Yeah, no, they appear to be operable, but they're the wrong size.
And especially the middle one. That's my favorite
You
shutter.
know what's weird about that middle balcony? It looks like nothing is supporting it. It's just tacked onto the column. It's like, that doesn't look safe.
It really does.
Like
It
just some
really does not look
18 gauge Brad nails. All right. Nobody's going out here anyways. There's no door.
safe. No door.
But
Until the kid walks out
here's
and
the thing that
falls
drives
through.
me. Oh, it was done by an architect. Shoot. Well, Rebecca, you don't know what you're doing.
That's her, the lady in the glasses. I'm just
Is
kidding.
it really?
No, I'm kidding. I haven't seen this video, but maybe. Well, the other funny thing
Shoot.
is the that's awkward.
It is awkward.
Rebecca, get better. The middle balcony rail is the same size as the lower rail, which is hidden by the bushes, which is the same size as the upper rail. Wouldn't you naturally want to have low, medium, high kind of deal?
Hierarchy.
Yeah, I mean, just
Hierarchy,
the
that's
missed
what it's called.
opportunity here is just blowing me away.
They could have done something cool around the door, but they decided to just insert it into the rectangle.
The door itself is odd.
That's what I'm saying. Like, couldn't you do some fun stuff around the edges of the door? But instead, they just did.
Well, they didn't even leave themselves enough room kind of
Right.
with the ceiling of that balcony.
Because wouldn't you want like a pediment or something on there? I'm asking.
Yes.
I'm asking.
That's
Okay,
that's
thank
the
you.
opportunity I'm talking about. That's this. Why did you put in that middle balcony, right? Why? There's no windows to go out there, right?
Doors.
So there are doors to go out there. So it's just like you could have done this amazing pediment or amazing built-up surround that was more traditional, more appropriate to this style that you're implying.
Or even like a pulled-out doorway.
Yeah, something, right? And so why did you do that? It's just you've built. Yeah, it's really weird.
This is a little bit of a historical question, and how much do you see this on the job question? But is it traditional or is it typical to see a door that is literally flush with the entrance of the house? I mean, that entire facade of the house, other than the balcony and the roof balcony, is flat. Is just one flat thing. There's nothing comes off of the wall other than the shutters, I guess. But
yeah, I see
know
what you mean. No, I think it's not traditional. Like
Right,
you
that
usually
seems
want
weird.
some kind of architrave or casing. I mean, same thing.
Does that door swing out? Surely those swing in. Looks
No,
like
it's got to come.
it almost looks
no,
like
it
it's
goes
on the
in.
face of the.
I don't see the hinges,
I don't see the
so I
hinges,
think
it's
it
gotta
goes
go
in.
But yeah, there's not a lot of depth or texture in this thing.
Yeah.
Rasmussen, the architect who designed this masterpiece.
Rasmussen.
It was such a great
Oh, that is her,
opportunity
right?
to be able to work
Yeah.
so closely
Okay.
with the owners of this
Oh, it
property
is her.
to create a home that really meant a lot to them. It's a beautiful space
Yikes.
with attention to all sorts of details. So let's go in and take a look.
I'm excited that we have the actual
Oh, they swing
architect
in.
to explain
swing in.
us.
That is crazy. Yeah.
This is the main entry to the home. What's important about this space is that you get the light from both sides.
This is like recording yourself
to the
doing a
home.
crime.
What's important about this space is
It's like you're guilty.
Here's how I murdered this person. First, I took the knife and I planned it for quite a while.
I even have drawings of everything.
I sketched it out a lot from a lot of different angles. So, what do you agree with her that the light from both sides is really important?
So there's a concept that in single bay rooms that you have, it allows light, but when you get in a house that's too deep, you only have light from one side.
What's a single bay room?
Well, like
a window bay?
like that is a double bay. You've got this front portion, you've got this back portion. So she's got light coming from both sides. So that's, in architectural speak, right?
Yeah.
It's just like to have a room with light on two sides is better than a room with light on one side. And some rooms have lights on three sides. And it's like Frank Lloyd Wright has a lot of his rooms are
Peninsulas.
peninsulas, and so you have light on all these different sides, and so it allows you to experience that room in a number of different places, a number of different times. It doesn't get as dark, and so when that statement that she's making is that's the benefit she's coming up with for that room.
Yeah.
It's clear too that these people wanted to kind of combine a modern and traditional aesthetic. And so, those moldings are just, flat boards. They're not anything. And so
Exactly.
they are, maybe that was the whole design point, but certainly standing on the outside of it, you don't get that impression.
No.
Right.
Well, I hope we
You
get to
don't
hear
think
from
that there's
Sarah.
a contemporary, focus on this, but yeah.
Do you think Sarah will speak to that?
You mean
One of the
Patricia
things that was
Rasmussen?
particularly interesting
Rebecca?
about this project
Rebecca.
We all mess up.
Rasmussen.
As if it had been here for many, many years. So we sourced materials that were aged. In other
Where?
words, the flooring came from many, many different locations, but it is all antique flooring.
Do you like that?
bought-
Do you like getting the flooring from multiple different locations?
Well, we like salvage material. I like that, but it doesn't go with the modern aesthetic that they've got going on in there. I mean, if you're going to do moldings like that, I would have done a flat, almost maple, museum quality
Flooring.
kind of flooring.
'Cause then it would
it's a
match the
weird,
combo.
juxtaposition and combo that they've got going together.
Hey, that's the first carving I've seen in any piece of this house so far. Everything else has been
that's
flat.
a carving.
Well, whatever it is, it's texture, and nothing else has had texture yet.
From states all over the country that we put in so that it would feel that the wide planks and the feel of the home would have
It just the wide plank floors with the polished
So
walls
with that,
doesn't
let's go
work
take
very
a look
well
at
to
the
me.
living room.
The living room. I feel like all these
As
rooms
an
are the exact
architect,
same.
one of
The puddled
really
drapes are a little bit
interesting things
dated.
Oh yeah.
about this project was taking different influences and creating a home for the owners. We wanted to bring a modern aesthetic,
French
combine it
mantle.
with some antiques and with some
Oh, that's
Asian
detail.
influences, all a nod toward.
Okay, so she put together a somewhat ornate
the-
fireplace together with very flat moldings. Is that to draw more attention
Well, I mean,
to it? Or
she's
what?
got 2 salvage materials so far. She's got the antique floor. She's got an antique mantle too, that French mantle. So again, she's highlighted the materials that she's put in as opposed to the architecture.
Okay.
You know, and certainly standing in that room, you're not sitting there going, "Oh, I'm still in that traditional farmhouse," right?
Right.
That looks like a room from a
Museum
10th
or-
story in the penthouse in New York.
One of the other things they like about this space is that it is always bright and light during the day, no matter what the weather. And in the evening, you can actually see the night sky and
That's
the
kinda cool.
stars.
I like
It's
that
an
room.
intimate space, fairly small, and allows for people to have 1 or 2 people, a nice conversation.
A lot of
or
orchids.
A 6-person dinner party. It's quite lovely, and it's where they spend a lot of their time.
Do they still own this place? Did she say that?
I don't. I mean,
This
it's for
is the
sale.
library. This is a
Oh, it is
space
on
that
the
was
market.
influenced by McKimbey and White.
What?
What? Explain that. I don't get it.
McKim, they're like famous, right?
Yeah,
Historical art.
McKimbey and White were historic architects in the turn of the century that from 1890 to about 1910, they had the most famous architecture firm in the world. And they did all these incredible buildings all around the country. They are the pinnacle. They set up the modern architectural office as far as the way they organize things with studios. I mean, they were just groundbreaking. And for her to claim that name, okay, for her to say McKimbey and White it'd be like me, just keep throwing around Frank Lloyd Wright's name or it just, some famous person's name, a famous architect. But you don't go into that library and think McKimbey and White, okay?
It's a space that allows you to look up and see books all the way to the sky. You can be in here in the winter with a nice fire, and it's a space that really, really is.
If you've been in the
quite
J.P.
intimate
Morgan
and very,
library
very nice
that
for the
she's
owners to spend
referencing in
time
New York,
It's just nothing like it.
no comment.
Wow.
And
Come
here
on,
we are in
Rebecca.
the kitchen. What was really
That
important
is a
about
big island.
designing this space was making it a comfortable
Can't even
space
reach
for
the
a
middle.
family. This owner has a rather large family, and they wanted everyone to be able to be in the kitchen at the same time.
Now, right there. See those windows in the back? Are they completely different style than the windows in the front?
Yeah, we did that at the barn where we were trying to get a contemporary look on the back because they wanted a lot of light. And I wanted to take advantage of the landscape and see out that.
Yeah.
Then they didn't want a bunch of windows, so we did that with steel and wood. But
You think it plays well
I think
here?
that's why they're doing that. I mean, I don't like the organization of the individual openings. I think they could be done better. But
Yeah. Well, I guess kind of something I'm curious about. The front of the house looked like it was just a symmetrical little home, and now we go to the back and there's a little more evolved space to it. What do you think about that? Like, what goes through your head when you see that kind of space?
Well, I mean, I don't like the overall execution of the house, right? I don't like the architectural details. I don't think they're carefully crafted, right? For $100 million estate. And so again, there's nothing wrong with this house. I mean, in that if you spend, $5 or $6 million on a house like that, it's okay, right? And you could have fixed just a few things in this house and made it much better. But, it sounds like the client gave a, contradictory, statement about what they really wanted because they got this traditional front, but you go inside and it's very contemporary in a lot of those spaces. Nothing on the inside so far as hinted to the very traditional, outside. And so that to me is a disconnect, but that could have been the homeowner. That could have been, I see the Buddhas and the other things going on in there. You're like, that's almost an Asian Japanese influence or
meditative, calm,
so
peaceful.
What, her directive could have been, hard to read. And so,
but even in the, let's say the homeowner said all the, I want a modern, a traditional, contemporary, contradicting, the architect still screwed up in the front.
Totally.
Yeah.
totally. it could have been. Sometimes you get clients like this that have a lot of money and they think they know everything, and they end up. And if you don't have a strong architect, they can run over, the architect, and just, well, this is what we want, this is what we want, this is what we want, and you end up like, look, you're going to have a hot mess on your hands, and so they which they do, right?
Yeah.
They don't. You don't. I don't think you look at that. Landscaping is fabulous. Obviously, the grounds are amazing.
Yeah.
But I mean, if I drive up and that's the first view I'm getting of a $100 million property, I'm like, there better be some. There better be a 60-foot pool house.
Hey, you're in luck.
There better be a pizza oven.
There is. Well, closing thoughts on this, Richard. What do you think about this place as a whole? Are you feeling like you'd spend $100 million on this?
Well, it's funny because at a glance, when we just behind the scenes, Austin was going through this before we started rolling this podcast.
Yeah.
And he's like, don't look. I was already looking over there.
Yeah.
And at a glance, I was like, oh, that looks nice.
Yeah.
But when we slow down and start looking, and Brent's pointing all this stuff out, I'm like, oh yeah. They kind of jack some things up.
Yeah.
So overall, I agree. I think that for the price, I mean, it's not a good deal. I would say keep looking. If you have $100 million and you're in the market, maybe pass on this one.
Yeah, invest in Brent Hull. He's gonna do some
maybe sign
custom
up
neighborhoods.
Take that $100 million, put it into Passion for Craft, and we
Yeah.
can do something for you.
We'll figure something out. Looking at the two chimneys, it's kind of funny because on the one side of the room there is
House.
house. Sorry, there's the one room with the Victorian salvaged fireplace mantle and everything, and then on the other side of the house there was that really like low hung whatever fireplace that just looked terrible. It's just so interesting. Like one was really good and then one was really bad, all in the same house.
Well, you'd expect to see, if you're standing on the outside of the house, you establish some expectations. I expect to be in a country house. I expect to see that natural stone fireplace or the field stone fireplace. I would expect to see somewhere inside there was a brick wall in the kitchen. Why'd you have a brick wall when you have all this wonderful stone? That you brought in a new material that doesn't make sense. And so, instead of having a French mantle that looked like a penthouse in there, why would you not stick with the country vibe? You've got the hand-cut floors. Why wouldn't you have a stone fireplace, right? Where is that material? Where is that gone? And so, it's just, they're creating expectations here that aren't met when you go inside.
Well, you're right. Like even just thinking about like everything in there wanted to be a New York penthouse. And then nothing about it was, because the even from the drapes to the modern library to all that stuff, it was all modeled after New York stuff. And
I like leather. Leather works on this house in certain places, but not the way they executed the leather floors.
They did it in a different way. That was leather foil. I didn't understand that. I was so confused by that.
Me too.
She was like, we stained it really dark mahogany and everything was black in there, right?
I don't know why you choose a material like mahogany and then paint it black. Basically, it's just like it's almost like they wanted the statement. Oh, we got black mahogany or something. They wanted a something they could tick off that they had something special.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think $100 million, we think a lot of it, let's say 50 million of it could have gone to the equestrian horse farm.
Let's hope 99 million went to the horse farm.
So what's I guess let's play this game. What's the maximum you feel like this house is worth that you would spend it on, assuming location is not the issue?
I think that's a $3 to $5 million house.
Richard?
I was gonna say like 2 to 3.
And I have no spectrum for what is what.
knowing the materials they put inside it is kicking it up for me.
Okay.
But like expectations of what that would cost, like in Fort Worth on a street, it's a big house. There's a lot of square footage.
That's huge. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, but I mean, without the other stuff, it's it's not a.
I don't really have a good perspective either. I'm just
yeah.
kind of thinking, like, from what I've seen on Realtor.com.
I would have said 1 million realistically, but
Well, you got all that mahogany.
The stuff
and
inside, I don't know how much mahogany costs.
Mahogany.
Well, they could have used pine and painted it, and they would have gotten the same
That
result.
could be mahogany in there.
I think that's.
I love the figure mahogany.
Yeah, that's dark oak, right?
Exactly.
Mahogany, pine. All right, so now we're checking out Thomas Cruise. I think that's his full name. But he's got a Colorado ranch. The title says, Tom Cruise selling his $39.5 million Colorado ranch. See inside the massive home.
Caveat, this is 2008.
Yeah, so we did a small pre-screening of this. So this is a 2008
When he was
$39.5
married
million
to Katie
home.
Holmes.
Are they not married anymore?
No.
R.I.P. All right. Well, so Oprah is actually doing the house tour, which is exciting.
May I just say, I have never seen anything like this.
There she is.
Oh my God. I just have to stop a minute.
Oprah was so blown away by Tom's 320-acre ranch.
Well, I hope that Oprah was so blown away that she actually displays the ranch and not just them. All right, so there's the exterior. It looks like a really cool mountain home. Very.
I mean, what I've seen from the pictures, it is that typical mountain look with a lot of wood.
Of wood.
And so it doesn't. This one, I mean, it is what it is. I think it's going to be a little bit dated, but for obvious reasons. But there's nothing wrong with it so far.
Oh, I love a great kitchen, man.
Yeah, you're right. It's just all exposed wood.
Yeah.
Pause there. That's great. I mean, it's all that exposed wood. It's almost too much of it, but do you not like when it's all like that?
I'm not a fan of cabin look at all.
I'm not a fan of too much. There's times where it's all right, it's a cap. We're in the mountains and there's a bunch of exposed wood like that, or just it's stained and semi-unprocessed or whatever. And I'm I get it. We're in the
I understand. I understand what they're doing with it, cabin.
Yeah.
Obviously,
Why don't you like it though?
It's just too overwhelming. Log and wood. I like to see contrast and different texture.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it's just boring architecturally.
Yeah. What do you think?
It's a little bit of a cliche. Okay. I dislike other styles more.
Okay.
In that I understand what you're saying, and I'm yeah, I can see that. But sometimes those enclosed woody spaces, when they open up to the light and they're open up to a big window, really, create some drama and stuff like that. And so I think it can work.
Okay.
I think it can work.
The driveway a mile long. 10,000 square feet with 7
That sucks to
bedrooms and 9
snowplow.
bathrooms. The price tag just under $40 million at $39.5. Of course, you can't put a price tag on
All
the
3-star
cruise
garage.
and the ranch's spot in pop culture history.
But they've got the dovetailed corners there.
Yeah, I was gonna say
looks a little bit faux. I mean, why would you have those dovetail corners there, right? So they've purposely created
on the outside of the house.
Yeah, they've created a little corner there so it creates some drama, but it's a weird connection. But I mean, I'm really nitpicking.
Does that have the chinking in it too?
Mm-hmm.
First time, what did you think?
I was just blown away. Yeah. I mean, just driving up the road to get here, it's
I didn't realize she was taller than Tom Cruise.
He's short.
And then I realized he was a Scientologist. I got out of there. No.
Well,
didn't he jump up on the couch with her? Isn't that famously when he jumped on the couch, said he
With
loved
Oprah?
Katie Holmes? Yeah, pretty sure.
Is it going to happen here?
I'm off of cupcakes. This is the sugar house.
I mean, that's a cool house. Yeah,
pretty cool house. Tom Cruise.
Not a fan of
2008.
cabins. I gotta say, but yeah, $40 million.
All right, here we go. Robert Downey Jr.
This is Susan's house. The reason that it's situated exactly where it is because they
he lives in a windmill. That looks like it's on Sag Harbor. That looks like it's in New York.
They're in Hamptons.
Yeah, they're in Hamptons. Okay,
Yeah.
I was just there,
wait,
and so that's what it looks like.
This was our first bit of design for the house.
And we just can't
The whirly gig.
Yeah, it's part of the furniture now.
I like that brick going up there.
More cozy in this joint. Right off the bat, I'll show
Is
you.
that his wife or is that?
He said Susan was her name. I didn't know what he said.
This one
Well, he introduced them as the Downeys.
Okay.
It gives you something to look at when you're dropping a deuce.
A drug mule-free America.
This is what you don't want to see. The inevitable, why is everything stuffed in here closet? And I'm telling you, there's a cat box in there, too. Susan Downey will now take over the classy portion.
So does his wife.
Feel free to get Joe on camera at once. Get in here. Hey. I want to make something very clear before you start. I know
So he's the
hard to tell
designer.
us apart. That's Joe and I'm Robert. All right, go ahead.
Older brother.
We work together with great ceramicists, and he really did a miracle for us here.
You're very pleased with this place, aren't you?
A miracle.
I am. I'm very pleased with my clients. Thank you.
What do you think of that piece?
3, maybe 4 times.
It doesn't surprise me that a movie star having a place in the Hamptons would fill it up with crazy art.
I'd just like to remind you that your comment at the beginning of this is a lot of these guys have a team that gets together and makes this house great.
Yeah.
You still feel that way?
I think that's what he's done, right? He's trusted his brother for that piece of artwork, but so far architecturally everything's cohesive in my mind. Even though they have a little sunken pit and everything else for that, it still works. The execution of it, the colors they use, the materials they used, it works.
All right.
So
it's funky.
Yeah,
but it's pretty cool.
It is funky.
But I don't like that ceramic piece though.
Yeah, no, I mean, the way I look at modern art and things like that, it's reversible. Like as a preservationist, you want to do nothing to the building that isn't reversible, that you can't take off later. That art is reversible.
There are some other pieces. I think this is our most recent iteration. We'll always have a pumpkin spice latte.
Always have pumpkin spice latte.
Believe it or not, I actually do own the licensing for my own 3D head scan. And this is just for those intimate nights, when
Doesn't everyone need
you
a green Robert head?
I like the moldings, like the beadboard and like
that's what I mean.
The casing.
Yeah.
What do we love about this spot? I'll show you.
When these two pillows
It's just something
are
magical.
correctly aligned.
That's a cool chair too. That
it's
seat.
like the Roman vomitorium, where you can eat and then lay down. Is she asleep?
Never.
One of our elements of high design are these signs everywhere. Nothing matters except them not getting out.
Yeah, not a ton. So it is a windmill.
You almost bit it on the stairs, didn't you?
Yeah.
These are steep stairs. It's why she likes it.
I think it's a faux windmill.
All right. There she is. It's got like a balcony.
That's cool.
Yeah, they really didn't show a lot of this place.
That praying mantis thing. That's funny.
Is that reversible?
And so they're playing to the architectural traditions that were on the Hamptons.
Yeah.
And all the moldings and everything inside were really well done.
Yeah.
And appropriate materials. It was great. Loved it.
I actually think the windmill is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's a fun feature to live in.
I like the entry up and the front door and the little awning. Like,
yep.
And
scale and proportion of all the parts and pieces work.
Yeah.
Right. And so
it had a herringbone brick entry.
Yeah.
Walk up.
And then this gravel drive. And so, you're in the country, and so this is whimsical and fun. Yep.
Good. So it was a good one.
Yeah. He had a team, evidently, and executed well.
Team got together.
He needs to fire his ceramic.
I find that in areas like this,
Yeah.
where traditional architecture is practiced a lot and they have a lot of tradition of it,
Yeah.
everybody's gets better. Now, why? Because they have the original right around them that they can look at and go, oh, look, we missed that detail. Oh, this is better. And so when you have a lot of those traditions and details in your neighborhoods, it's harder to screw them up.
Yeah. That makes
and
sense.
I feel like if you were on the path to screw them up, like screw up the streetscape, people would tell you about it.
Well, I mean,
like,
yeah,
hey,
and
you can't do that.
The traditional's not very well done when you go further west, right? Why? Because they just don't have a lot of examples to look at.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So we saw a mega mansion that was gaudy and pretty terrible.
That was hopefully mostly valued in the horse farm.
Well, then we saw a horse farm, $100 million horse farm. The mega mansion for the producer Michael.
Oh yes, I forgot
right.
about that one. I tried to block that out.
Yeah, it's good.
You brought it back up.
Yeah, welcome back. Then we had the horse farm that we hoped it was mostly valued in the horse farm. Then we saw Tom Cruise's mountain home from 2008, a little throwback. And then we finally ended with Robert Downey Jr.'s current home. Overall, like, what are the thoughts? Did your theory hold true about your celebrities?
Mostly. Yeah, I mean, those people pay for style, right? If they don't, it doesn't mean that they have, taste and everything else. I mean, you saw the cat pictures and the cat things he has up on his deal. I mean, they've got a team of professionals who make them look good, and so that's what I expected. That $100 million mega mansion was poorly executed, right? And so this is better.
Yeah, Rebecca, you would not be hired by Iron Man.
Yeah, the Rasmussen build was not very inspired. It was. I guess it comes to that balance of like, where do you step in as the architect to talk to your client, and I guess that's the education piece that we've been talking about so much. Is how do you do that?
I think as a homeowner hiring an architect, I feel like you're going to trust them because they're an architect. So you're just, I guess this is what you designed. You're the professional. Let's do it. So.
I'm consulting with the client right now in Michigan. They had their builder. The builder has an in-staff architect, and so the architect apparently told them they wanted something French country, and I'm genius at that style. I'm really good at that. That's all I do, and it was a hot mess, and it was just gross. And so it's hard because people will sit there and look you in the eye and say, I'm a genius at that style. Yeah. And truthfully, that he didn't know what he was doing. And so, it's hard for the layman to get a good house today. And it's hard.
Yeah. Well, cool. Well, thanks for watching this episode of the Passion for Craft podcast. Got to see lifestyles of the rich and famous on full display. So hope you liked it, and tune in next time.